Okay, Prabhu, you are on live now. You can start.
Hare Krishna, all the dear devotees. Thank you for joining in today's Wednesday Bhagavad Gita ISB class. So we'll start I want to welcome all of you. We'll start with a song written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This song comes under the book named Kalyana Kalpataru. And this is one of the Uchchavas Prarthana Lalashamai song number 9. You can see that in the official name. Uchchavas means like you are loudly announcing, and Prarthana Lalasamai means that different types of Prarthana are there. Lalasamai is you are actually aiming for some perfected service. It's like when you're perfect stage, what kind of service you want to do. So that is actually very elevated, Lalasamai Prarthana. And also there is another official name of this song is Navadip Bhajana Kutir, means like you build a hut in Navadip Dham and you perform your bhajana there. So in this song, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Kobe habe heno dashamor tyaji joroas vivido bandhano charibo sangsara ghoro. When that day will come, or that phase I will attain, when I will reject all kind of material attachment, material desires, all kinds of bonding, material bondings, and this attachment to my material life, my family life. Vrindavan abhede navaddipa dhame bathibo kutiro khani sochiro nandana charana asrayo koribo sambandha mani. I will build a hut in Navadip Dham, which is non-different from Vrindavan, and I will take shelter of the at the lotus feet of son of Sachi by establishing a relationship with him. Jannavi Puline Chinmaya Kanane Boshia Vijana Sthale. Jannavi Puline means like on the bank of Mother Ganges. Chinmaya Kanane, in a transcendental groove. Boshia Vijana Sthale, I will sit in a secluded area, secluded place. Krishna Namamrito Nirantara Pivo Dakibo Gorangole. I will chant the name of Krishna, or I will drink the nectar of Krishna's name continuously, and I will call the name of Gauranga. Ha Gaurnitai, Tora Duti Bhai Potito Janero Bondhu. Oh Gaurnitai, you are two brothers, and you are the friend of the fallen souls. Adhomo Potito Amihe Durjano Haumore Kipashandho. I am very wretched, fallen, and very rogue person, a rogue person. Please be the ocean of mercy for me. Kandite Kandite Sholokrosho Dhamo Jannavi Uvaya Kole. I will traverse the 16 crores or 32 miles on the bank of Mother Ganges, both sides of the Mother Ganges bank, like both sides of the bank of the Ganges, and I will cry. I will traverse. Bhromite Bhromite Kobu Bhaggofale Dekhi Kuchu Torumule. If I am fortunate, if by my great fortune, while traversing, I can actually see some esoteric things, or some esoteric lila can manifest in front of me. Haha monohar ki dekhinu ami bolia murchit hobe. And then out of ecstasy, when I see that kind of beautiful sight, I will exclaim that what I have seen, and then I will faint. Sombito paiya kandibo gopone swari duhu kripalapo. And when I come to consciousness, I will cry in seclusion, and I will appreciate what kind of mercy I have received from you. So it's a beautiful song, and it actually expresses Bhaktivinoda Thakur's eternal mood, eternal appreciation to Navadip Dham, and his eternal desire to reside there and chant the name of Gauranga. So let's start this song. I don't know, I will not play Kartal Prabhu because sometimes Kartal actually overpowers the voice. I'll just sing in my normal voice. Kabe habe no dasamo, kabe habe no dasamo, kabe habe no dasamo, habe no dasamo. Tyaji jaraya suveda bandhana chadiba sangsara ghor. Tyaji jaraya suveda bandhana ছাড়িব সংসার ঘর, কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর। বৃন্দাবন ভেদে নবদ্বীপ ধামে, বাঁধিব কুটির খানি। বৃন্দাবন ভেদে নবদ্বীপ ধামে, বাঁধিব কুটির খানি। সচির নন্দন চরণ আশ্রয়, সচির নন্দন চরণ আশ্রয়, করিব সম্বন্ধ মানি। সচির নন্দন চরণ আশ্রয়, করিব সম্বন্ধ মানি। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, হবে হেন দশা মোর। জাহ্নবী পুলিনে চিন্ময় কাননে, বসিয়া বিজন স্থলে। জাহ্নবী পুলিনে চিন্ময় কাননে, বসিয়া বিজন স্থলে। কৃষ্ণ নামামৃত নিরন্তর পিব, কৃষ্ণ নামামৃত নিরন্তর পিব, ডাকিব গৌরাঙ্গ বলে। কৃষ্ণ নামামৃত নিরন্তর পিব, ডাকিব গৌরাঙ্গ বলে। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, হবে হেন দশা মোর। গৌর নিতাই তোরা দুটি ভাই, পতিত জনের বন্ধু। গৌর নিতাই তোরা দুটি ভাই, পতিত জনের বন্ধু। অধম পতিত আমি হে দুর্জন, অমরে কৃপা সিন্ধু। অধম পতিত আমি হে দুর্জন, অমরে কৃপা সিন্ধু। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, হবে হেন দশা মোর। কাঁদিতে কাঁদিতে চলো ক্রোশ ধাম, জাহ্নবী উভয় কূলে। কাঁদিতে কাঁদিতে চলো ক্রোশ ধাম, জাহ্নবী উভয় কূলে। ভ্রমিতে ভ্রমিতে কবু ভাগ্য ফলে, ভ্রমিতে ভ্রমিতে কবু ভাগ্য ফলে, দেখি কুচু তরু মূলে। গমিতে ভ্রমিতে কবু ভাগ্য ফলে, দেখি কুচু তরু মূলে। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, হবে হেন দশা মোর। আহা মন কি দেখিনু আমি, বলিয়া মূর্ছিত হব। কি দেখিনু আমি, বলিয়া মূর্ছিত হব। সম্মিত পাইয়া কাঁদিব গোপনে, সম্মিত পাইয়া কাঁদিব গোপনে, করি দুহু কৃপা লাভ। সম্বিত পাইয়া কাঁদিব গোপনে, স্মরি দুহু কৃপা লাভ। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, ত্যাজে যার চারিব সংসার ঘোর। ত্যাজে যার বিবিধ বন্ধন, চারিব সংসার ঘোর। কবে হবে হেন দশা মোর, হবে হেন। ভক্তিবিনোদ ঠাকুর কি জয়।
প্রভু আপনার ভয়েসটা না মাঝে মাঝে ব্রেক হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
My voice is breaking sometimes. Okay.
হ্যাঁ মাঝে মাঝে, হ্যাঁ।
Okay. I think it will not break now because I was clapping hand. Maybe it was trying to get the sound of my clapping. Yeah, that's why I was not playing the kartal as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Prabhu, yeah, in future, Prabhu, if it breaks, please let me know. I will try
Okay.
to use my headphone. Yeah.
Sure, Prabhu.
Okay. So
Go to Jai Radha Mata.
Jai Radha Madhav, I'll skip. I'll just do the Mangalachan prayer, the general Mangalachan prayer. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadhaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरे विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्किपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्. Oh, can we actually read the translation of all the verses we actually read in the Mangalachan? Because it's beautiful sometimes to remind ourselves that what we are actually reading. Okay. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance, with the torchlight of knowledge. So actually, to see something, to get the sense of vision effective, we don't need only eyes. Eyes is the medium, but we need also light. So we have kind of eyes, but we are actually blind because there is no light. So this spiritual master gives us the light so that we can see the things as it is, or we can establish the sambandha with all the things which are created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and definitely with the source of everything, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why this is the verse which is actually talking about that he opened my darkened eyes, which were darkened because there was no light. Okay, so Srila Rupa Pranama. So it says, when will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Because we are actually all servants of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Padam Bhujau Dhuli Dhulangshu Janmasu. Dhuli Dhulmas. Yeah. So, because Rupa Goswami is the topmost acharya in our line, and we are actually servant of, or we are aspiring to be servant of Srila Rupa Goswami. That's why in this prayer we are remembering Srila Rupa Goswami and asking for his servitorship. Because you are taking under the lotus feet of someone, that means you are asking for servitorship, not like you want to be friend, or you want to be his master, or you want to be equal to him. Rather, you want to be subordinate, always subordinate to that person. Yeah, let's go to the next verse. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and all the other preceptors on the path of devotional service. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas and unto the six Goswamis, including Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and their associates. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Advaita Acharya, Prabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all his devotees, headed by Srivas Thakur. I can offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani, and all the gopis, headed by Lalita and Visakha. So you see that there are two guru here. Vandeham Sri Guruho, like this is actually a singular number, and then the next one is Sri Gurun Vaishnavangsha, means like plural number Guru, and also Vaishnavas are also accepted as gurus. And then it says Sri Rupam Sagrajata, means Rupa Goswami and his Agraja, means Sanatan Goswami. Sahagana means with all of his associates, and then Raghunath Annitam. So there are two Raghunath, right? Raghunath Das Goswami and Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. So these two Raghunath are actually quoted here. And Tam Sajivam. Actually, in the translation, it doesn't say Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. But anyway, so Tam Sajivam and also Jiva Goswami. And then Sadvaitam, Sa Advaitam means Advaita Acharya. Abadhutan means Lord Nityananda. And Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam means like all with all associates Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And headed by and his devotee headed by Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur's name is not directly in the Mangalachan, but it insinuates that thing. And then Sri Radha Krishna Padana Sahakana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitam. She lotus feet of Lord Krishna, Radharani, and Lalita and Sri Vishaka, all gopis. So this is more or less, that subject matters of all spiritual topics, right? We talk about the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his topmost form as Radha and Krishna, and all his associates. Similarly, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they discuss about Panchatattas, and also the teachings of the six Goswamis, and the ardent followers of six Goswamis, who are like our topmost acharyas, Vaishnavas, Guru Vargas. So all subject matters are kind of mentioned in one verse. So this verse actually kind of summarizes all the Mangalachan prayer we do. Please go to the next one, Prabhu. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namaste. So this is a very famous prayer to Lord Krishna. So many devotees in many sampradaya, they actually offer different pranam mantra to Krishna, like Krishna Vasudevaya Haraya Paramatmane Pranata Kileshana Ashaya Govindaya Nama Nama. This is the verse I learned when I was like in my boyhood, maybe 6-7 years old. And then we saw that there is another verse, Krishna Vasudevaya Devakinandanaya Chananda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Nama Nama, like Kunti Devi's Prarthana. So even Nama Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitesh, which is the most famous, Krishna's pranam verse. This verse, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu, is actually quoted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why it's very special for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And it has also very specific attribute of Lord Krishna, that he's Gopesha, he's the Ishwa, controller of the Gopas, and Gopika Kanta means he's the husband of Gopis. Okay, let me read the translation. Oh my dear Krishna, ocean of mercy, Karuna Sindhu, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the cowherd men and the lover of the Gopis, especially Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So here this is the master of the cowherd men, Gopesha, and the lover of the Gopis, Gopika Kanta. Kanta means also husband. Radha Kanto is specifically means especially Radha. So Radha Lingita Vigraha. So Krishna's that form is the topmost form. So that's why Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they quote this verse as pranam mantra of Radha Krishna mostly. Okay, please go to the next one, Prabhu. This is Ridmati Radharani's pranam mantra. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, Tapta Kanchana, and who is the queen of Vrindavan, Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishubhanu Sute Devi. You are the daughter of King Vrishubhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vishwanu Sutedevi Pranamami Haripriya. Haripriya is actually dear to Krishna. So that's why Srimati Radharani has another name, Barshavanavi, who is daughter of Vishwanu Raja, king of Vishwanu, king of Varsana. King of Varsana, right? Yes, if I say correctly. So this is Radharani's quality. In fact, Radharani has infinite quality, but this is a very generic verse because we don't want to reveal Radha Tattvas to each and everyone. So that's why it's more of an opulence. This verse actually is more of an opulence. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Like Radhika Ashtakam and Radhika Stava, Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, these prayers, they have very esoteric prayers to Srimati Radharani. But this is a very generic, and this is very helpful for sadhaka workers. Bancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yeah, this is one of the important verses because It says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. If Vaishnavas are not compassion, where we will go? Who will actually bring us in the path of devotional service? Who will correct us? Who will introduce us with the signs of Krishna? No one. So Vaishnavas, they don't have any other service. Mohan ko sawa vai tarite pamor, nije karjo nahi to bujay poroghar. Even though they don't have anything to do with the materialistic people, still they come to us to deliver us, to give us the knowledge. So that's why we are uh, considering them. Also, they can fulfill any desire, even material desire they can fulfill if you want. But mostly the problem of material life, they actually destroy those problems and engage us in service to Krishna. That's why we are paying our obeisances to the Vaishnavas, and it's very powerful to get the mercy of Vaishnavas, even more than Lord Krishna, because we cannot approach Lord Krishna directly, but we can approach him through a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Okay, like next verse go. Oh, that is a verse also. Nite name name hate. Shraddha Mulle Nam Dite Sere. This is, I think, it's a verse written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. It was quoted by also Jagannath Das Babaji, if I understand correctly. Nita has brought the divine name to the marketplace of the holy name, and he is giving away that name for the mere price of your faith. Oh, yeah. Shraddha Mulle, only the price you have to pay is your faith. So Lord Nityananda is most merciful, even more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He gives you the entrance to the marketplace of holy name. Without his mercy, we cannot get rid of this, because that's why he is the Adi Guru Tattva. He is the Guru. He takes away the anartha, which are very challenging, especially this Shararupu, and then Kutinati, Pratishtha, the subtle material attractions and the gross material attractions, both are actually driven away or taken away by the spiritual master. And Lord Nityananda is the origin of spiritual master. That's why he allows us to enter into the marketplace of holiness. Let's go to the next verse. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas, and others in the line of devotion. So this is very powerful, because this remembers the Panchatattva, who are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his different manifestations. His manifestation as a incarnation of devotee, as a pure devotee, as an incarnation of devotee, as an expansion of a devotee, and devotional energy, and Bhakta Shakti. So there are different 5 manifestations, and we remember them as Pancha Tattva, and all Tattvas are situated in the transcendental platform. All the personalities who are mentioned here and their true followers, they're all situated in the transcendental platforms. That's why they are in that category. They are non-different. However, if you go to the personal level, there are differences, but in transcendental level, they are all same person in the same level. Okay, go to the next one, please. Which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is no need to give any interpretation or anything. You are all familiar with the names, the topmost mantra of this age of Kali, which glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I think in last Saturday class, Vaisheshika Maharaj was mentioning that this means I need help. I really loved it. I heard it before also, but it struck me last class very much. So this you can interpret in our sadhaka stage that this the meaning of this verse is I need help. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the name of the Supreme Lord. Hare is the energy of the Lord. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, and Rama is the pleasure giving potency of the Supreme Lord. So these 3 names combined together to form this mantra, and this is coming from a spiritual world. It's not someone manufactured this name. It's coming from a spiritual world to give the highest spiritual ecstasy. Okay, so I think that's it. We already covered 15 minutes discussing the Mangalachan prayer, but I had a desire to actually talk about it. Okay, so let's go to the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu. So Krishna Katha means, the talks about Krishna. Maybe we can display later, Prabhu. Let's speak a little bit and then we can come to the display part. So Krishna Katha means talks about Krishna or pastimes about Krishna. Krishna Katha or Krishna's Katha means like if some Krishna has spoken something or something is spoken about Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it's all about the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So from his lotus mouth, the manual for spiritual advancement for general populace are are revealed, like how one can actually live like a life and follow the codes of this body, so that they can gradually improve or reach to the highest platform of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Krishna's Katha. And then Katha about Krishna, or Krishna Katha is Krishna's Katha and Krishna Katha. Yeah, anyways, yeah. It means like Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas, where we speak about the absolute truth and his activities. He is a person, he has a relationship with his devotees, he has his own abode, and how it looks like, those characteristics. Because in Bhagavad Gita, you don't get actually that much details about them. Everything is touched, superficially touched. Lord Krishna touched everything, and that's why pure devotees, when they read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, they find that it's same as actually Bhagavatam, it's same as Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is no difference, because they can discover those kind of messages inside hidden under the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But in general, if you actually grammatically you try to understand, you won't understand much. You will understand that okay, Krishna is telling these things to us, the instructions he is giving, just like a teacher, just like a guru, but the ecstasy behind it, and that may not be revealed to you unless you are situated, or unless you are taught by a devotee who lives the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, who lives. He only doesn't speak, or doesn't scholarly explain. He lives the philosophy. So if you associate with a devotee like that, you will understand that you are getting something out of it. Yeah, you are getting the ecstasy, transcendental ecstasy, the mode of loving service of devotees by studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we know that 18 chapters are there, and among them the middle 6 chapters are talking about bhakti mainly. Yeah, means like the first 6 chapters are called the Karma Shataka, and then middle section is called Bhakti Shataka, and then last 6 chapters are called Jnana Shataka. The subject matter is about knowledge. However, for devotees, all are actually about bhakti, and that's why you see that Srila Prabhupada from the beginning to end, he kept on speaking about devotional service, and he connected every yoga process with pure devotional service, because ultimately that is the goal, that is the ultimate conclusion of reading every verse, every chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So interestingly, so this is we in ISV we read actually chapter a day. So in this month after Kamika Ekadasi, we started reading the first 21 verses of 10th chapter. And this chapter is known as Vibhuti Yoga, means the opulence of the supreme absolute truth. Interestingly, in this chapter, the 4 quintessential, conclusive verses of Bhagavad Gita are quoted. Means like Lord actually quoted these 4 verses to reveal all the inner meaning of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, all the inner teachings of Bhagavad Gita in a very succinct form. Like if these verses, all other verses are kind of expansion of these verses, or if you understand these 4 verses clearly in the way Lord is explaining, or his acharyas are explaining, you get the core understanding of Bhagavad Gita, what it is talking about. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita also we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was teaching Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, he actually started with the Sambandha Gyan, the teachings on the relationship of the living entity and the absolute truth, or relationship of everything with respect to the absolute truth, the Sambandha Gyan. Because if we don't know the Sambandha Gyan, then the process of surrender, it doesn't come. Like, we don't know actually what is our relationship, and then how to surrender to that person, because surrender is also dependent on your relationship. The surrender you do to your parents, the surrender you do to your office boss, surrender you do to your kids, they are not same level, because based on the relationship they are different, right? So that's why the samandhya jnana, the knowledge about the relationship, is to be revealed. And that's why these verses, and then these 4 verses, they speak about sambandha gyan. And then the next step of the sambandha gyan is the how to establish that sambandha, how to be actually serving in that sambandha, or how to act so that this sambandha can can be firmly established, or uh, you act in that sambandha. It's like the activities in that sambandha. So that is avidya. And then the prayojana is the experience. When you act in that sambandha, what kind of experience you get. So there is a nice example can be given. Like, you watch a commercial. Say for an example, somebody is telling, okay, you want to buy a car, buy this car. It's a very latest technology, like Tesla. Buy this Tesla, model XYZ, whatever. And it has these all latest features. It has, like, auto mode driving, that and this and that. When you drive it, your friends, your neighbors, they will be envious of you. They will say, oh wow, he's driving that kind of car. So this is kind of, they are giving you kind of a knowledge about the sambandha. Okay, when you get that car, when you buy that or own that kind of thing, it will give you that kind of, the goal is that, you get some kind of adoration by your neighbor, by your friends, like that. So now what you do, that is the sambandha. So now you go to bank, or you go to your lenders, and go to the dealership and buy that car, and you get it at home, right? And that this procurement, this process by which you get the car, to which you are establishing the relationship, that is called avidya. It's a very gross example with that. And then prayojana is, you want to flaunt it, you want to show it to your neighbors. Okay, you see that this is my car. So this is the prayojana. Prayojana is not, you are also enjoying, or more, because the material world is all perverted. Here people get pleasure by showing other people down. They are not concerned about who are lower than them. They are concerned about who are higher than them, or who are equal and higher. People are very much envious towards the people who are almost in equal level. Anyways, so this is the material world, but this example gives you an understanding that sambandha is that you have a car, you want to get a car, so you plan some way by which you can get the car. That is avidya, the process. And then prayojana is the enjoying that car. So similarly, spiritual world also, that sambandha, avidya, these are and prayojana, these are the 3 tattvas spoken, right? Veda Shastra kahe sambandha, avidya, prayojan, Krishna bhakti, prem, 18 jan. Krishna prem, 18 jan. Means like in the scriptures, in the Shruti Shastra, or in any scripture, authorized scripture, it only speaks about 3 subject matters: sambandha, relationship of the absolute truth with the absolute truth; avidya, the process of devotional service, or process to establish that relationship; and prayojana, the experience of that relationship. And that is equal to Krishna. Sambandha is Krishna, not with anything else. Sambandha with Krishna. Krishna is the center point of sambandha, and then anything related to Krishna, tadvastu, is also related to Krishna. So that is also our that we are also related to. And then Krishna bhakti is the avidya, the process of devotional service, and Krishna prem is the prayojana, the experience of love of God. So in these 4 verses, these 4 very powerful verse, which summarizes the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, or if you know that very clearly, you get actually the core message of Bhagavad Gita very clearly. It speaks about these 3 subject matters: sambandha, avidya, and prayojana. I'll go to that. So you see that in the 9th chapter, Lord Krishna speaks about what? That Rajavida Raj Guyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmam Susukham Kartum Abhayam, right? He's telling, oh, this is the most confidential knowledge. And there he introduced the conclusive verse of that chapter is Man Mana Bhavamad Bhaktamadhiyaji Mam Namaskara Mamaviva Juktaiva Atmanam Matparayana. So this is the conclusive verse where he gives, okay, pay obeisances to me, worship me, think about me, meditate upon me, Man Mana Bhavamad Bhakta, and be my devotee. Like those things he is directly instructing. But still, we don't see actually much realization or understanding from Arjuna's side yet in that chapter, right? But when Krishna speaks about this Catursloki Bhagavad Gita, he immediately reciprocates, oh, param brahma, param dhama, pavitram, paramam bhavan, purusham shashvatam divyam, ajanittam adi devam, ahuscha nishaya sarve, devarshi naradastata, asita devalabhyasa sayang chaiva pravisimi. He immediately says, oh, you are the Param Brahma, you are Param Dham. So this is like enlightening for Arjuna that he could not hold him. He started speaking about glories of the absolute truth, and he is telling, oh, you are that person. It's not only me, it's not only you, it's also spoken by Narada, Vyasa, all these rishis. So these are like so enlightening, so powerful verses. It is, this Catursloki Bhagavad Gita verses. So we'll chant those verses. And Prabhu, once I request you, please share the screen, not now. So first I will explain, and then we'll read some purport, and then again I will explain. And so when we read purport, please share the screen. Okay. So it says, the first verse says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matya sarvam pravartate iti matya bhajante mam buddha bhava samannitaha. That's a very powerful word. You can see that aham starts with aham. Aham means like ego, right? In material world, aham means ego, I, me and mine, right? Aham mameti. But when it is actually connected to the supreme absolute truth, it's actually the pure ego. That's the truth. That's not like something false. That's truth. That's completely opposite. That's the real identity. When Krishna says aham sarvasya prabhava, everything comes from me, this is the truth, because everything is coming from you. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto, 3rd canto, 4th canto, many places the creation is explained. Even in, I think in 12th canto also. 12th canto also, yeah, because it talks about Nirodha, means like the unwinding of the creation. And there it also like the same cycle, the way it manifests, that same way in the opposite direction it gets unwinded. So we see that. So anyway, so aham sarvasya prabhava, so everything emanates from Krishna. Matya sarvam prabhavate, and everything revolves around him, means he is at the center. He is the center. So these are all truth. And when you see that someone is in the center and someone is the creator, like that is like that is like there is no other higher goal of your life than to serve the person who created you, or who is actually controlling everything. So there are 2 points here. So he is not only creating everything, aham sarvasya prabhu, everything is emanated from me, matta sarva prabhu, everything is also revolving around me. That means he is the controller also. So the creation and controlling potency, both are the source of these both potencies is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And Krishna, he has, aham means he himself. It's not impersonal. It's not an energy. He's talking about himself. So this is these verses so powerful that Mayavadi are impersonalists. They cannot actually counter argue these verses. Then that's why you don't see them discussing about these verses very often. Interestingly, Bhagavad Gita impersonal verses also can be interpreted by a pure devotee in personal way. Like Advaita Acharya, Sarvata Pani Padantat, Sarvata Akshishiro Mukam, that 13, 14, he could explain it in the personal and understanding by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But this kind of verse, the impersonalists, they can't interpret it in an impersonal way. Yeah. Anyway, so Krishna is asserting here, or ascertaining that everything is coming from me and everything is controlled by me. And that is the core of theism. Theism means there is a creator and there is a controller. Both are there. Not only creator and not only controller. And atheism means there is no creator, there is no controller. I determine and I am a creation of the what is that by chance, or by some kind of divine, not divine arrangement, by some material arrangement. By chance I got created, the life got created, I came into being, and there is no one controlling me. I am independent. Yeah. And there is another in between philosophy also, which calls that there is a creator, there is no controller. I was created by someone, but he's not controlling me. My free will, my will is independent. I can do whatever I like. So these are like different methods. So Krishna is asserting, okay, I am not only the creator, I'm also the controller. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matya sarvam pavartate iti matva. By thinking in that way, bhajante ma, who worships me, the bhaj dhatu. So it's beautiful, bhaj dhatu means direct service. Even though service can be in three ways, right? Mana, kaya, mano, and vakya. Like kaya means the body, vakya means the word, and mana is the mind. So kaya, vakya, mana, or mana vacha sadhiya. So kaya or body level service is very active, means like excuse me, active means like it's very visible. The experience is very prominent. Like somebody is doing hard work or serving someone with body, it will be experienced by other also, and he will also see that, oh, his limbs are used. Then the bhakya, it may not be actually all sometimes visible. Sometimes, like a pure devotee can chastise someone, and that can be service up to Krishna. But other person who doesn't have any understanding of Krishna consciousness, you say that person is rude. He's not a devotee. He is actually talking in a rude manner. But the rude manner talking may be beneficial or ultimate blessings for the person he's talking. And then mana is also very one level higher, subtler. So that's why a sadhaka bhakta should start doing mainly the service with his body and with his words. Words means he's speaking about Krishna, chanting, and also he has to do the active engagement of service. That's why Prabhupada interpreted bhaja or bhakti as active engagement of service. But in a purified state, or in ecstatic love, or pure love state, that is not the case. That we have to always do physical activities. You can be sitting in one place and you can do the topmost service, right? So that's a difference. But in a sadhaka stage, in a like elementary stage, that is the case. So there said iti matva bhajante, by understanding me in that way, people start, or devotees start executing devotional service, bhaja, and through their body, mind, or words, whatever. Iti bhatva bhajante mam buddha bhava samannita. Buddha means intelligent. Buddhi comes from Buddha, that same origin of word. Buddha is a dhatumul, I don't know. It's maybe a root of verb. So Buddha, opposite to Buddha is mudha. Namam dushkritino mudha. The mudha cannot take shelter of me, cannot approach me. Krishna actually declared it in 7th chapter, right? But Buddha, these intelligent persons, and Krishna also explained in 2nd chapter that who are that serving in buddhi yoga. Then what is that? Buddha bhava samannita. Yeah, they don't actually serve in the robotic style. Like, oh, Krishna, take it. Krishna, I drink it. Krishna, I am chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, like robot. No, mechanical. No, it's not like that. It with Buddha bhava samannita, with mood of our emotion, with a proper mood. No, you have a relationship with the Lord. You want to serve Him very closely. You are considering yourself unqualified. That different kinds of mood can be in different stage of your devotional life, but there should be some mood. So this is the summary of this verse. So now let's go to the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Oh, Ashamada Prabhupada. 10:8. Okay, so we'll read the verse once again. Vaham sarvasya prabhavo matya sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samannitaha. Okay, please. Okay, bhava samannitaha. Prabhupada explain synonyms like with great attention, Also, bhava means like with emotion or with ecstasy can be also told. Yeah. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literatures agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopal Tapani Upanishad 124, it is said, Yo Brahmanam Vidhadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedams Gapayati Sa Sma Krishnaha. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narayana Upanishad 1 says that Atha Purusho Ha Vai Narayana Kamayata Prajaha Srijati. Then the Supreme Personality Narayana desired to create living entities. The Upanishad continues Narayana Brahma Jayate, Narayana Prajapati Prajayate, Narayana Indra Jayate, Narayana Astau Vasavo Jayante, Narayana Ekadasa Rudra Jayante, Narayana Dadash Adityaha. From Narayan, Brahma is born, and from Narayana, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayana, Indra is born. From Narayana, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayana, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. Please go down. Prabhu, you can read, Prabhu. Next, I will explain then, a little bit.
It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmano Devaki Putra. The son of Devaki, Krishna is the Supreme Personality, Narayana Upanishad 4. Then it is said, Eko vai Narayana asin na Brahma, Neshano napu nagni, Somau neme dvaiva, a Prithvi na nakshatrani na Surya. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality Narayan. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven and earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. Maha Upanishad 1.2. In the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of the Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatim cha rudram chapi aham eva srijami vai tauhimam na cha vijanito mama maya vimohitau. The patriarchs, Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusory energy. In the Varaha Puran, it is also said, Narayana paro devas tasmad jatas chaturmukha tasmad rudra bhavad deva sacha sarva jnatam gatah. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, and from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me, no one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way, from a bona fide spiritual master, with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness.
Thank you. So the interesting fact is, you see that in this purport, Srila Prabhupada actually quoted from all different types of shastras, and many of the shastras quoted here, we as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we don't study them very frequently. It means like the acharyas, they comment here and there, but we don't study as per se. Even though Srila Prabhupada had his desire that we study also different types of Upanishad and in respect to Gaudiya, understanding. But we mainly study Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Goswami literatures, right? So here Prabhupada is explaining in terms of those literatures, because Bhagavatam is all about Krishna. Everybody knows that. Or Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, they don't speak anything other than Krishna's topics. And they start with, okay, Ekala Ishwar Krishna or Sab Bhitto Jare Joichana Chaitesha Koishe Toiche Kore. Only Krishna is the Supreme Lord, everyone else is servant, like that. So there is no doubt. However, when you study Upanishad, you may not actually find everywhere that, oh, it's glorifying Lord Krishna, or it's actually talking about Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is telling that actually I am quoting from these literatures which are not used by Vaishnavas on a maybe Gopaltapani Upanishad is used, but not all the Upanishad quoted here. So I will establish the truth in respect of the impersonalists, the main literatures of the impersonalists as well. So he is bringing out the philosophy from other literatures to establish the truth. Because Bhagavatam, if you say the first Catursloki Bhagavatam, Aham Eva Sameva Gre Nanya Deyat Sada Satparam, there also speaks about that. Narayana Para Sarve, Narayana Para Makha, Narayana Para Veda. There also speaks about Narayana, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Param Kriya in second chapter, right? And in second canto also there are, this verse comes, I think, fifth chapter, Narayana Para Sarve, Narayana Para Kriya. So there it is very clearly explained. But Upanishad, unless you read through the acharyas in a commentary, you can be bewildered. And Srila Prabhupada wanted to explain, especially if somebody doesn't have any background in Vaishnavism, he may have some impersonal concept. So he has to be explained through his faith, right? And his faith is in Upanishad, because impersonalists, they way mainly believe in the commentaries of the Vedas. Okay. So that's why it is Prabhupada, in the purport you see that there are many quotations from different Upanishads and different other Shastras, which at least I am not familiar with. Maybe some of our scholarly devotees, they can be familiar with, but at the same time. So I really love that the way Prabhupada actually established the truth or substantiated it without touching any core, Vaishnava literatures, Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures as per se. But beautifully presented that, okay, I'm quoting from here that you see that Rudras, Vashus, Indras, Adityas, Brahma, Lord Brahma, everyone is coming from Narayana. So this is beautiful. Okay. Anyone has any comment on this verse or anything what you have explained so far before we go to the next verses? Ruhi Mataji is here also. Ashramada Prabhu, yes.
No, Prabhu, you have explained this this Sambandha aspect of this verse very nicely. Yeah, I mean, we always, in Sambandha, right, we try to build always relationship with someone from whom we want to get something in return, right? We don't want to build relationship with anyone like who is coming or going on the road, right? And when we see that this person is everything, basically, right? Everything is coming from him. So we try to build relationship with this person, right? I think that you explained it very nicely.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. If there is no other comment, we can go to the next verse. So let's actually discuss a little bit. You can stop sharing maybe, and then we can go to the purport also. It's a beautiful purport. Is actually no, 10.10 is my most favorite, one of the most favorite purports in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, so 10.9 it says, Mat chitta madgata prana bodhayantascha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushvante cha ramanti cha. This is the process of devotional service. Interestingly, for a devotee, the means to attain the pure devotional service or the pure love of Godhead, and the goal after attaining it is same. When a sadhaka bhakta, they want to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they go through exact rules and regulations. Maybe there is no spontaneous attraction by the instruction of the spiritual masters, by senior devotees. they go through a very regulated path where they can serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a regulated manner. But once he perfected in his sadhana, he does the same thing, but with spontaneous attraction, with love and affection, with emotion. So this is the activities. Mat chitta, mad gata prana. The person whose chittva means whose heart, whose mind. Chitta is can be heart, chitta can be mind, chitta can be also, in higher level can be also soul also, because soul resides in heart. So it says mat chitta mad gata prana, whose life's goal is directed towards me. Mad gata prana. Bodhayantascha parasmaram. They discuss about me. With whom? With same qualified devotees. You don't want to discuss Lord Rama's pastimes with someone who is a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Maybe you will discuss sometimes, but you will not get that rasa, because he is in a different mood. My Lord, like Hanumanji, if you actually glorify Krishna, he will chant sometime with you. Then again you start chanting the name of Rama, 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 Ramiti, Monorame, Rame, Rame, Sirama Rameti, Ramo Rame, Monorame, Sahasra Nama Tattvilam, Ramanama. Anyways, so he will start chanting the name of Ram. It's not that he's belittling your worshipable God, but he is in a different rasa. So bodhayantascha parasparam. Parasparam means among or between. This is done with same level of devotees, or same kind of devotees. Sajatiya, snigdhasya. The devotees who are in the same with same test, same goal, and who are very like soft, or who are very friendly towards you. So bodhayantascha parasparam means you speak or you talk about the Supreme Personality of Godhead with devotee. Oh, the talk is coming later. Kathayantascha mam nittam tushwanti charamanti. That means the devotees, matchitta madgata, whose heart and whose life is dedicated towards me, or whose goal is will go. I am his whose goal of life and heart. Means like his mana and dhya, both are actually directed towards Supreme Lord. What they do, bodhayantascha parasparam, they discuss about me among themselves, like who are like in the same level. What they discuss, kathayantascha mam nittam, about my activities. Kathayantascha mam nittam tushwanti charamanti, and that's how they get satisfaction and pleasure. Tushwa means satisfaction, means like we are inflected by so many things, material world. So what is the only solution to get rid of these problems? And nivritta taishya rupagiyo manat bhavaishadat chatra mono viramat kauttam shloka gunano vadat puman virajita vina pashugnatana. Srimad Bhagavad Mahaprabhu speaks, right, that only way to only medicine, it's to bhavaishadat chatra mono viramat, like the sickness of this material world, or the disease of this material world, is to hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from someone who is nivritta taishya rupagya manat, who is completely detached from this material world. And if we don't do that, puman virajyata vina pashugnata, who other than someone who is a killer of the soul. Killer of the soul means like somebody who is killing the animals, or like very cruelly, like a butcher killing animals, or killing himself, atmaha. That's also same. So other than who will not be attracted to hear about that Supreme Personality's glory from this kind of devotees who is completely devoid of material attachment. So this is the point. Like kathayantascha mam nityam tushwanti. It gives tushwa, satisfaction. And Raman means Radhika Raman, right? That person who enjoys with Srimati Radharani. So this is like you get enjoyment by Krishna's katha. It gives you like some pleasure, which is not worldly pleasure. Kastipnaya tirtha pado vidhanat satreshu vasuru viridyo manat yakarana naring purushasya yato bhava pradam gehorating chinatti. Kastipnaya tirtha, who will be satisfied by hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tirtha pada. whose lotus feet are actually the site of pilgrimage. Wherever Lord's lotus feet, wherever Lord's activities, that is the site of pilgrimage, right? And who is worshipped by the topmost personality, Suruvirijyamana, topmost sadhus, topmost demigods. They are worshipping the Supreme Personality. Ya Karnananing Purushashrayata, the human beings through their Karna Randhra, through their ear, when the glories of that Supreme Personality of Godhead enters, Bhava Pradam Griharating Chinati, all kinds of Bhava Prada, the sufferings of this material world and the attachment towards the material life, they will be cut. So that's why the pure devotee's only goal is to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is also the means to situate in that platform. Without discussing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you cannot do that. So Vaisheshika Maharaj, he also speaks, right, that we can actually judge by one devotee's progress by experiencing that how much he is attracted to Krishna Katha, how much he is attracted, how much he is detached from other Gramya Katha, and how much he is attracted to hear about Krishna, discuss about Krishna, and act based on Krishna's instructions. Yeah, these are extra I am adding, but the main point is to hear about Krishna. So now let's go to the chapter. So this is the Abhideva part, that activities you do for devotional service, right? Where there's famous verse which is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 2 places in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Atmarama verse. This also speaks about him. Atmaramasrimaya nirgantya purukrume kurvanti ahituki bhakti ito bhuta gunohari. They are also ahituki, executing ahituki bhakti. Those who are even self-satisfied, those who are in Brahman platform, they are also unmotivated. They are executing unmotivated devotional service unto me. And they are glorifying me also. That is the speciality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Katha. Okay, so let's go to the purport, Prabhu. The translation and purport also can actually take. So Matchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam. No, actually there is no cha. I was pronouncing it. Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanti Cha. So it says, translation purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So can you go to the verse, Prabhu? I want to see the enlightening part. Bodhayanta. Oh, so Bodhayanta can be preaching and enlightening. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Bodh means also the realization. Yeah. Bodh means okay. Parasparam. Yeah. Okay. So Ruby Mataji, you want to read purport, Mataji, if you are available?
Mataji, your voice is not coming very well. It is breaking.
It is breaking, Mataji. Asha Madhavu, can you unmute yourself? Mute yourself and see whether Ruby Mataji can speak.
No.
Anyways, yeah.
No, Mataji. Mataji's voice is breaking.
Yeah, his voice breaking, Mataji. So let Mataji Asha Madhavu can read. Yeah. Oh, you can read.
Pure devotees, whose characteristics are mentioned here, engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing with him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they release the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can release the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them, there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed and it is sown in the heart of a living entity. And if he goes on hearing and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahmajyotir effulgence in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky also, that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Golok Vrindavan, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as a plant grows fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavatam itself, 12, 13, 18. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. And Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Babu. So you see that actually in regard to explaining this verse, this famous verse, Srila Prabhupada is actually quoting verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, because the ultimate shelter of understanding pure devotional service in a vivid manner, especially the Avidya Bhakti, is Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. There, the process is explained very clearly, and Bhagavad Gita it's a very succinct manner. Bhagavad Gita is starting point. It gives out the knowledge about the jiva, the supreme personality of Godhead, the material nature, the karma, the activities or material activities, and also the kala, the time. But Bhagavatam actually speaks about how to actually approach or how to serve the supreme personality of Godhead in different manner. And Chaitanya Charitamrita also quotes many verses from Srimad Bhagavatam to establish the process of avidya. So here, this is actually the 19th chapter is Lord Chaitanya's instruction to Rupa Goswami, wherein in Prayag, I think in Prayag, the Sashramat Ghat, Lord Chaitanya instructed Sri Rupa Goswami, and he actually talks about that Brahmando Bhamite Kono Bhagavan Jiv Guru Krishna Prasadevai Bhaktilata Vij. But among the many like Brahmanda Bhamite Kono Bhav means like a living entity by his extreme good fortune while traversing through different planets, he gets the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and through that he gets the blessings of Bhakti Lata, means like devotional creeper. So then he said, Mali hoya kore ihaw bij aropon shrobono kirtana jale koreho sechan. Means like, then the person who receives it, he should carefully implant that devotional seed, the creeper of devotional seed in his heart, very carefully, as a gardener. Gardener sows the seed, and then he should uh, put water and nourishment to that seed by what? Shravana Kirtana Jale, means by hearing process and chanting process. He should actually nourish that thing. And then he said, Upajiya Bade Lata Brahmanda Vedi Jai Viraja Brahma Loke Vedi Para Brahma Pai. So then that creeper, it grows and it goes beyond the 14 upper planet, 7 upper planetary system, and then Biroja means that the Brahman effulgence also, and even the Brahma Loka, and then Parabhyoma, beyond that effulgence, it goes to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take its shelter in Goloka Vrindavan or in any spiritual planet. So that these are also explained by Srila Prabhupada here. Okay, I think 12, 13, 18 is a very famous verse. It says like, what is that verse? Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Yam Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramhansam Ekam Amalam Gyanam Parangiyate Tatra Gyana Virag Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmam Avishkritam Yat Shinnan Supathan Vicharana Para Bhakta Vimuchanara. It's a very, very famous verse. Like it says, like Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the pure devotees. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam. So let's read the translation. Yeah. Yasmin Paramhansam Ekam Amalam. Gyanam Parangiyate. Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. It is more dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahansas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material world, together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. Not only liberated from the material world, they are actually engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Excellent. So this is one of the glorifications of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so let's go to the verse. Okay, so this is the starting of Avidya. And then now the next two verses, it's mainly Prayajana Tattva, that when you are engaged in pure devotional service, what kind of reciprocation you get? What kind of reciprocation you get? So it says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Tesham satata yuktanam, the person who is continuously or always engaged in bhajatam priti purvakam, in my priti purvak devotional service, with love and affection, who is engaged in devotional service continuously, always. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, I give him that knowledge by which what he can do? Come to me. Yena mam upayantite. He can find a way to come to me. You find the ways to come to me. I give him the intelligence. Now, the impersonal is sometimes, juggles with what, because that's their service, to service to Supreme Lord, to juggle with material energy. Material. So they say, okay, you see that? By executing pure devotional service, what do you get? You get knowledge. By after executing this, what Krishna gives you? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give you the intelligence. And they don't discuss about the next phrase, which says, Tena mamupayantiti. You find a way to come to me. They don't discuss about this. So there is, they are haphazard. Like wherever there is way to interpret something in an impersonal manner, they will take that and they will discard the other part, which gives the complete meaning. So that's why there is no point of interpretation. That's why Srila Prabhupada always emphasizes that Shastra should be understood through the interpretation of the Acharyas as it is, not some fabricated things. Okay, so let's read that verse, Babu. And it's a very famous purport, one of my favorite purports from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving you with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Okay? Please read the purport.
Sorry, I was on mute. In this verse, the word buddhi yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord instructing Arjuna said he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of buddhi yoga. Now, buddhi yoga is explained. Buddhi yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness, that is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in Karma Yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in Jnana Yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion, render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him.
Beautiful purport. Actually, I I see that this can be also actually summary study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, because you see how Srila Prabhupada is connecting all the yoga processes to pure devotional service. You know how karma kanda is also indirect pure devotional service, not direct. Similarly, mental speculation is also indirect pure devotional service. Actually, here Prabhupada actually doesn't say that they are indirectly doing. He says that goal is Krishna, but they have some other inclination. So ultimately, they will come to the path by Krishna's mercy, as long as they are not offensive towards the devotees and the Supreme Lord. But they will come to the path. But the interesting point, which is mentioned in the last paragraph, that in the last line itself, if a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. So our life's goal is actually not to become a very big scholar of the Shastras. Sometimes too much knowledge can be detrimental, Too much knowledge brings confusion. But if we are sincere, we are trying to serve the devotees, the Supreme Lord, in a sincere attitude, in a simple mood, then this knowledge will be revealed in such a manner that it will not only illumine us, it will illumine everyone else also, the whole world. That happens when somebody becomes a pure devotee. It's not that he is only benefited, everyone is benefited in the world. That's why the spiritual organizations only service to the humankind is to make as many pure devotees as possible. If we have thousands of millions of followers, but we are not able to actually make them pure devotees, then it's not like something very appreciated by the Supreme Lord. But If there is only 10 persons, and 10 persons all are sincere, simple, that is more, pleasure giving to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the gurus, to the previous acharyas, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So our goal is to, become as much pure devotee as possible. Then our spiritual masters, our previous acharyas, they will be very happy with us. They will be very happy with our services. And another interesting thing, even if we read, if we study, if we have a lot of intelligence, a lot of memory power, but if we don't have that attitude of surrender to serve, then this knowledge will not transfer into a wisdom or realization. That realization will not come in our heart. So we'll externally behave as a devotee, but internally we cannot actually take to this philosophy, or we won't live this philosophy. And it happens completely opposite to the other person who lives this philosophy but may not quote it. But if you just hear, yesterday in the Sunday Fifth class, I was mentioning that when a powerful devotee speaks, if he may not quote from a shastra, his answers may not be convincing for a scholarly person, but it transforms the heart of the listener. Whoever asks a question, their heart gets transferred immediately, because they have that kind of conviction, then that kind of spiritual potency in their words. Even if they give simple answer like, oh, chant Hare Krishna Mantra, or serve the devotees, or come to the temple and pay obeisances to the Lord, you will see that you are satisfied with that answer. Yeah, I have also that personal realization, by the way. Anyway, so this is a beautiful purport, and I recommend that you study this purport many more times in your life. Okay. So next verse, Prabhu, I will go very short. Next verse, maybe you can stop sharing and then we can go. So then next verse, Krishna says, Tesham evanu kampartham aham agyana jam tamaha nasayami atma bhavasto jnana dipyano bhashvata. So when I give the direction in what way? So these two verses together kind of. I am very compassionate to that person. Tesham evanu kampartham. I am very compassionate to person. Aham agyana jam tamaha. So what I do, I actually vanquish the ignorance, darkness of ignorance or darkness from their heart. Nashayami, agyana jam tamaha nashayami. I actually destroy it. Atma bhavasto, and I give them the realization of by which acts as a jnana dipana, illuminating, like enlivening, relivening, or how you can say, effulgenting, effect, works, effulgenting manner means like it gives you that that kind of effulgence in consciousness throughout your body. The transformation happens immediately. You feel Vishram Purna Sukhayate. Like everywhere you see only good things. You see only presence of Supreme Lord. You see everything in proper context, not you with your charma chakku, like in your blood, flesh, and skin. You seek in proper context. That Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmana. This is also same. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. You are perfected in an understanding of the relationship, and now you are experiencing that bliss. Jaha jaha netro pore taha Krishna sphure. Wherever you see, you only see Krishna or your Ishtadev in that place. So this is very advanced understanding. When you keep constantly engaged in devotional service, Krishna starts directing you, and then through that direction you get the illumination in understanding, in knowledge, in proper context of different objects in this material world, and relationship with the Supreme Lord, like that. So let's read the verse and the purport, and then we can conclude. We are already over time. I thought like we may not go to till 8:30, but it seems like go a little over time. Tesham evanukampartham aham agyanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhasvata. To show them a special mercy. Okay, evanukampartham is like merciful to you. That's what I spoke. I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Okay, so Atma Bhavasta. So Atma Bhavasta is actually Krishna is here is actually meaning the super soul. Okay, so Ashay Madhaprabhu, you can read the purport. It's not a big purport.
When Lord Chaitanya was in Benares promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Thousands of people were following him. Prakashananda Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Benares at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee does not take advantage of the literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is held by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadi philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they may be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still held by the Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by speculating. For the Supreme Truth is so great that it is not possible to understand Him or to achieve Him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotional service is the Supreme Truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association through many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears, and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors.
See, this is the conclusion of the 4 Chatushloki Bhagavatam. So one thing you see, interesting fact, when somebody perfects in devotional service, how his activities are explained or experienced by the mundane people or general populace. He's a madman. He's a mad. And that is our goal of life, right? To be a madman. And this verse said, okay, somebody who gets that drop of pure devotional service, it manifests in his heart, it becomes like a mad. And external people, they won't understand what they're doing. They consider he's a naive sentimentalist. Ebang brato sapriyo nama kirta jatan urago drutuchitto uchoi hasse tatha roditi rauti gayati unmado vanrittati loko baya. Ebang brato sapriyo nama kirta, like those persons who have taken the vow to chant the holy name of the Lord, which is very dear to the Supreme Lord. Jatan urago drutuchitto uchoi, in their heart, the anurag, the attachment, the affection towards the Supreme Lord will quickly arise. Hastyatati roditi roti gayati. Sometimes they will laugh, sometimes they will sing loudly, sometimes they will cry. Unmadavannatyati lokobaya, and they will dance sometimes like a madman without considering the external situation. So this was the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Prakashananda Saraswati, when he saw that, he couldn't understand it. And this is what happens. Jar hriday Krishna prem karaho uday tar bakko kriya mudra biggo na bujhay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this to Sanatana Goswami, that in whose heart the love of Krishna arises, his activities cannot be explained or cannot be understood by a mundane person. It is not possible. So that is the the essence or conclusion, that all the 4 verses actually concludes in that word where you say that when you perfect your devotional service, then you will be inundated with the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and your experience of devotional service will be in the transcendental realm, in a different level, where you even are not conscious of your efforts, your activities. So this is very special verse, and these 4 verses kind of summarizes all the core concepts of pure devotional service. And I think that's what I wanted to present today. Maybe I gave a little short presentation of the last 2 verses because of lack of time, but I want to hear from you. If you have any question, any concern, any comment, any chastisement or correction, please feel free to contribute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Kolodwip Pran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Excellent presentation of these 4 verses, how they connect to Sambandha, Abhidhaya, and Prayojan. Prayojan is a Bengali word. Key Prayojan. Why you want to do it, right?
Go, yes.
Right. Key Prayojan, right? That's what we say, right? Why we want to do it. That's the goal, right? That's why we want to do it, right? To get immersed in Lord Krishna. And Krishna takes care of everything, right? In the purport, he says, La Prabhupada, like he even once you reach that state, then you don't have to worry about a material necessity. Like Srila Prabhupada, right? He didn't have to bother, right? He got so many devotees, right, from throughout the world. I mean, it is very hard to believe, right? He like Russians, Germans, Englishmen, right? Americans, Africans, right? Everyone came to help him out, right? And he presented everything in a very, I mean, of course, he spoke philosophy, but his approach was very simple and straightforward. I think that is another thing everyone liked about him. He has to chastise, he will chastise. That's it. Right? People liked his straightforwardness, basically, right? Simplicity. And everyone came to help him, right? So he got help by everyone.
Yeah. Sharalata is Vaishnavata, Vaishnavata is Sharalata. And simplicity is Vaishnavism, Vaishnavism is simplicity.
Yeah.
They're synonym.
Yeah, you brought out very nice concepts, right? The simplicity, and then how Krishna then helps. Krishna looks at that person, right? He's not pretending, he's not a pretender, right? That he's a real, genuine person. And then Krishna, gives him all the knowledge.
Correct.
Which impersonalists cannot get. With all their logic and reasoning, after some time they get completely frustrated and they leave everything and they want to merge.
Exactly.
The Supreme Lord. Right? Yes, Prabhu. Very nice. Very nice lecture.
Thank you. Anyone has any other realization? Ruby Mataji, you wanted to say something?
Saying that, yeah, good class. And today it is the essence of
Ruby Mataji, your voice is very low. Cannot hear.
you cannot hear. Sorry.
Now we can hear. Now we can hear.
Okay, all I was saying was good class. I'm glad that you did the Catursloki Gita today. So that is the essence of the Gita. So that is good. So from Monday, I'm taking a Gita class. So I got the essence already. So that's great.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you. I think we don't have any online question or comments. So.
Yeah, I checked just now. We don't. Let me check once more quickly, Prabhu.
So why did you start so late, Prabhu? Isn't it at 6:30? Oh, my mistake. I thought it was 6:30 because your class, our class is 6:30. So for half an hour, I was saying the Zoom opening. See, that was the.
Yes, Kautukarana Prabhu in the YouTube, he commented that beautifully covered. So I just wanted to pass on the comment.
Thank you, Kautukarana Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I want to beg forgiveness from all the devotees if I have spoken something which is not in line with the teaching of our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me because of my misgivings, because of my shortcomings. may have spoken something. So please discard whatever is against the principles of the Acharya's teachings and accept what I have spoken based on their teachings and my realization. Hare Krishna. So I will just chant Hare Krishna Mantra 3 times, followed by Srila Prabhupada and Panchatattva mantra. Namayong Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pucharine Nirvishesha Shunnyavadi Paschatva Desho Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, समस्त गौर भक्तवृंदों की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर शीतनाथ प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो
पांचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो हरे कृष्ण।
कुलदीप प्राण प्रभु की जय,
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
प्रभुपाद की जय।
प्रभुपाद की जय, समस्त भक्तवृंद की जय।